Are you fucking deaf bastard?
The whole world recognizes the British Bobby. But society has changed a lot since he was invented in 1829. He still walks out unarmed, with whistle, notebook and truncheon tucked out of sight. But he walks in a violent world. And although he now has a powerful technology to back him up, he still works alone, wedged between the law and society's demands. Everyone recognizes the British Bobby, but how many people know him? Liverpool is a typical industrial seaport city, and the Liverpool police are typical of a British big city police force. 2,300 police range an area of 50 square miles, attending to the demands of 750,000 people. And they've always given their police a tough time. For Liverpool was immensely rich, and men came here to get rich. But disappointment, poverty, and a long tradition of violence have turned the atmosphere sour. All crimes have increased. So have the number of public demonstrations. On this morning of the 12th of July, even the traditional Orange Parade of Irish Protestants must be policed with a wary eye. The man who holds the balance between the law and men's demands, in charge of Liverpool's 2,300 police, is Chief Constable Horton. 40 years in the service, his post is beyond any political interference.
Well, traditionally, of course, the police are non-political, and the last thing that I ever want to do is to get involved in a political situation, because politics and police work don't really mix. I'm a firm believer in that. But unemployment, bad housing, no facilities for recreation, all these make police problems. Houses take time to build. They take a lot of money. Employment has got to be found. You know, we're in a difficult employment situation at this very moment. All this leaves young people wandering about with nothing really on their mind. And idle hands, in my experience, make mischief. So that politics do cause police problems. And we're the only people that they can attack and make it known that they are displeased with this political situation. In my annual report, I said something about the policeman being between the anvil and the hammer.
If you're too quiet, they're going to annoy you. They're going to provoke you or do something to you.
Can I say in reply to that, Mr. Montu, we have a complaints against the police procedure which is laid down by an Act of Parliament.
Chief Inspector Wardale is the Community Relations Officer. He's seen 24 years service with the police. His job is to stay in constant contact with the public. It's not his job to deal with official complaints. A procedure exists to do that. He wants to meet as many city residents as possible and hear their grievances.
One of our members was stopped by the police. The next thing you know, he was punched in the stomach. He got a tooth knocked out. Now, he was subsequently charged with disorderly behavior, in which he was found guilty. No action upstairs. The police allowed these 3 white men to go away. No names, no address. Nothing was 5071. He was charged with possession of cannabis. That was tried to the Crown Court, and his case was dismissed. The director has advised that there is insufficient evidence to justify criminal proceedings against any of the officers concerned.
It's a much hackneyed word. I've used it before. You might be tired of hearing it. But communication is the answer. I think you would agree to our problems. All kinds of people from all walks of life, all different colours, entertain prejudices about the other group. It goes from street to street in some neighbourhoods. One street dislikes the people in the next street. It happens in families. They distrust anyone outside their own families. You break this down by communicating. A number of people approach me and complain about the actions of certain police officers. Now this obviously grieves me as it grieves the majority of my colleagues. Now we have a big problem. We have to recruit from the human race. And until we can find a better method of recruitment, we're going to have problems. I'm sure that many people suspect the motives of the police when they pursue this community relations policy. But this is no gimmick. This is a genuine attempt to communicate with the public, and in doing so, enable the police officer to see the influence that he can wield in the community, the part that he can play in removing many of the difficulties which the community as a whole experience. I am the full-time community relations officer, but the most important community relations officer is, of course, the man on the beat. And we have about 2,000 men whose job it is to meet with the public daily.
Constable Holmes leaves for work. He's 35 and he's done 11 years with the police. The way Constable Holmes does his job is crucial to relations between the police and the public.
The idea is not just to project a good image, but to invite the public to come back at us, to enable the police officer to see what influence he can bring to the society in which he lives or operates. A lot has been spoken about the sort of environment or the sort of background that produces the kind of people we have to deal with. The social conditions which produce this kind of person obviously have to be eliminated. And we have a part to play in this. But we feel the major role is to be played by other people such as the social services, the government as a whole. For the moment, the police officer still has the criminal element to deal with. He still has to contain the present situation in order to preserve law and order, and in order to protect the majority.
I carry a piece of string, safety pins, and usually a clean white linen handkerchief. The piece of string, somebody told me, was to, if someone insisted on giving you the dog that they'd found, you had to lead the dog along on this piece of string. And when I'm actually out on the beat, carry a spare pencil, because it's very often embarrassing to be halfway through a statement or something and you've broken your pencil.
Yes, I'll try and do that. I'll call you back to confirm.
I always used to carry some smelling salts, but I never found a use for them.
182, calling and testing with Charlie Control, receiving you loud and clear.
I've never drawn my baton. I've never been ordered to draw it, and I've never had to draw it. I pamper my feet because they are my livelihood, really. And I insist on having comfortable footwear and warm footwear.
Constable Holmes sets out to walk his beat. It's the toughest community in Liverpool, with soaring rates for violent crime and juvenile delinquency. Holmes knows the beat intimately. It's his, and no man-made hardware could do his job. He can spot strangers, he can make contact with kids.
You being good? Hey?
My main concern is to maintain a contact with people.
I'm having a heyday today, aren't I? You're another one. Put that out of sight.
Charlie Control, Charlie X-ray.
If somebody wants to pinch your purse, it's easy, isn't it? Gone all shy.
When a person gets to know a particular police officer, they do tend to look to that officer for guidance and help, but to actually go and chat to somebody and while they're chatting say, oh, by the way, will you let me see your driving license? You know, they would look down upon you as saying, well, you're not a very nice policeman to know. The neighbourhood would generally go indoors when you walk down their street, which is the thing that mustn't happen, really, when Bobby's walking about. He wants to see people as well as people wanting to see him.
Is that your dinner? Hey?
In 1971, over 2,000 children were cautioned for crime. That's an increase in a year of 64%.
It's a terrible state out here, isn't it?
It's dreadful, isn't it?
You're having a lot of trouble with these children.
It's been like a bedlam with them, but it's a lot quieter now.